Arron, welcome to Alopecia Life today.
Oh, hi.
Hi. How are you doing?
I'm good. And you?
Good, good. So
Right.
I'm really excited to have you here today. We're going to just kind of jump right in and talk about your alopecia diagnosis. It's usually where we start and start this journey, right? You get diagnosed, you have usually a spot, and I'd love to hear and have you share with the audience kind of how it happened for you.
Absolutely. So it was around the age of when I was 15 years old. I woke up one morning, I went into the mirror and I said, I know I just came from the barber shop, but that looks like a spot. And then I just obsessed over it. I mean, every day I would wake up, look in the mirror, look closer. I would like try to literally go through the mirror, like put my head as close as I could to see the little spot. And then, it just became one spot, then two spots, and then it just grew over time. And then I tried to hide it from my mom initially because I thought it was just something that would pass. I thought it was, I'm 15, I'm changing physically, so I thought it was something of that nature. But then when it started growing to multiple spots, then I got my mother involved, and then we, went to a doctor, and then we realized that okay, no, this is a condition. So, obviously, I was traumatized over the situation, and no, I just began hiding, trying to figure out ways to cover up the ball spot, and that's kind of how it, started for me.
Yeah. And your story is really common. I mean, for any gender, we all kind of want to go into ourselves, hide it, isolate, not necessarily, share it with everybody. And when did you find that kind of changed for you? When instead of hiding, you wanted to kind of do something different?
Right. I mean, it took a while, honestly. It took a while. At 15, I was in high school. I mean, I couldn't wear hats in high school, so the spots weren't that obvious until my senior year. That's when it became a little bit more aggressive. So about a year or two into it, the spots became bigger, and they started to like come together, and then they started to bald a lot more. So I didn't really accept it for a while. I was kind of in denial
Yeah.
initially, and I always was hopeful, thinking that one day it will grow back. I
Right.
thought it was just a phase that I was going through.
Hmm.
It wasn't until really, in my adult years when I had to like I couldn't cover anymore. I started going into the workforce,
Hmm.
and I had to like had to be business casual. Going into work and traveling to work. So then I just had to just accept it. I
Hmm.
had no other choice at that point.
Yeah. I mean, what would you say to a 15-year-old boy or girl going through this right now where their hair loss is happening and they're like, what do I do? How do I mean, do you wish for yourself? I guess the question is, do you wish for yourself that something would have happened before you kind of didn't feel like you had a choice to accept it, air quotes. Um, do you wish something would have kind of kicked you into gear sooner, or do you think that that's just kind of part of the process for each of us? It's each our own
Well, I mean,
journey.
at the time I was going through this, I mean, there were no chat GPT, there were no Google, there was nothing to really research. So it was kind
Mm-hmm.
of on my own, and no one in my family had it. So I didn't have any resources. Unlike today, where, a lot of teenagers have access to information right on their phones, so they can
Mm-hmm.
find out, they can get extensive amount of information just by doing basic research to find out what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
So it's easier to say now, in hindsight, but I know a teenager going through this is it's breaking, it's nerve wracking. It's you go through all these emotions when you go through it. So just speaking to a 15-year-old to say that you're not in it alone. There's approximately 7 million Americans that are going through this with you. So don't feel like you're alone. There's a lot of support groups that you can go to help you with this, outside of just normal research that you would do on your
Yeah.
own through other resources.
Do you feel like, there's got to be kind of a happy balance between the two? Like you and I didn't have any resources as far as, when we grew up, we didn't know anybody with it. We didn't know what it was even called. And I mean, it was kind of like, what is this? And then autoimmune condition, like that's something that wasn't something on our minds or even our parents' minds probably, learning about it. And so do you feel now is kind of the other end of the spectrum where you're like, now we can, like you said, we can research everything, know a lot, know maybe too much about it before and go kind of down rabbit holes, I guess.
Right. I mean, right now is definitely information overload when it comes to learning about alopecia. But
Yeah.
if you want to put it in layman terms, your body thinks that your hair is germs and it's attacking those hair follicles.
Mm-hmm.
That's essentially what it is.
Yeah.
Alopecia is in ABC terms. Um, yeah.
Yeah. I think, like you said, there's like information overload, but I think for us, we would have liked to know at least something, right? We needed something and we needed to know, like you said, we weren't alone. You have kind of taken this to the next level as far as you did something with your story. You decided you wanted to share about your own journey and put it into a written form. And I'd love to hear about the book that you have published. And it's recently been released, right?
Correct. So my book recently has been released. It's called Hairless But Fearless. It's a memoir about my journey with alopecia. I'm a big component of turning something that we look at as painful and turning it around to make it more of a story of power, of something that we can use to embrace our future. And also not look at it as a curse. Not look at alopecia as woe is me, this happened to me. We should look at it as, this is something that I get to have and something that I get to share with other people. It's something that makes us unique from everyone else, and it's something that we should be proud of. Yes, of course, we didn't wish it happened to us. We wish we had it here, but there's also, I always look at it this way. There's people that wish that they had alopecia, who has cancer, or they wish they had something else that was less severe. So we can be grateful for what we have, knowing that it's not necessarily affecting our everyday lives. Yes, it affects our hair, but we can use it to empower us. And that's the reason why I wrote the book. I wrote the book to help others who are going through alopecia. And I also wrote the book so that um, my kids and my grandkids and my great grandkids can understand their lineage, to understand where they came from. God forbid someone in my future also has alopecia. So I know it travels through family genes. So that's what I wanted to leave behind, and also let everyone know that it's a story of resilience.
Yeah, I've met people over the years, and you may also have met people where they're like, "Oh, my uncle, oh, my cousin, oh, my teacher." And I remember my daughter had a young teacher and said that her aunt had it and she never spoke about it, right? And there's a lot of people who don't talk about it, and so you leaving this legacy, in the form of a book and in writing is just like incredible. And it's important, I think, like you said, for people to kind of go, oh, this happened and this is kind of how it went, because generations down the road, we all know we're not going to be here at some point. Generations down the road, they will want to know. And just because we're not talking about it every day, it's not really something that people understand. And so, more things out there that we can share with the public is important. So I did want to let you know I went to order it and it wasn't going to show up before our interview. So I was like, okay, I'm going to hold off on that and then get it after our interview. But I look forward to reading it. So, and I don't know if did we talk about the title at all yet?
Yeah, so the titles are Hairless But Fearless,
Hmm.
a story of alopecia and resilience.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's a book. It's available everywhere. Of course, you can go to the website hairlessbutfearless.com to purchase it, but it's on Amazon, any major book platform that you prefer to purchase your book from. You can definitely buy it from there as well.
Yeah, I'm excited to read it and to share it with the community. Um, so I'd love to hear about your personal life a little bit, as far as you have a family. I know you're married and you have two girls. How did you meet your wife, and how what do your girls think about your hair loss, if anything? Because if they didn't know us different before, then they kind of just know you as you, right?
Right. I mean, my daughters always say, Dad, I can't imagine you with hair, you know? And
Mhm.
I'll show them pictures from when I was a teenager. That doesn't look like you. So, yeah, it's a total difference. I met my wife on a train. I mean, in New York City. Bumped into her on a train, and we kind of started a conversation, and we built from there. We started off as good friends, and then 3 years later, we got engaged and married, and now we have two daughters. So it's a
Yeah.
great story. And then even my wife says the first time she met me, she noticed something different about me, but she couldn't put her hand on it. And then when she started
Hmm.
looking closer, she said, "Oh my gosh, you don't have eyebrows, you don't have
Eyebrows, right?
eyelashes."
Yeah.
And she didn't realize it. But I want to say that to say it's always a way about the way you carry yourself. So if you
Hmm.
carry yourself with confidence, if you carry yourself just happy to be who you are, people tend to just look at you for you, not necessarily your outside appearance. They look at what your inward appearance, and they want to get to know who you are as a person. So the fact that it glazed over her that she kind of noticed something different, but then couldn't really put her hand on it.
Hmm.
This goes to show that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. I think that's great advice, which something that we learn, I think, with maturity, but also with alopecia age, right? I mean, we've lived with it this long. It's a process to get to kind of where we are today. And that's kind of what the steps look like for each of us. And what would you how many people have you really met with alopecia in your life personally?
I see a lot of people in passing that
Hmm.
have alopecia, and we'll kind of look at each other and like it's almost like a, oh hey, how are you? Like almost like an unspoken language that you speak when you
Hmm.
see someone else with alopecia. But it's funny because I wasn't raised with my father. My parents got divorced when I was young. I reconnected with my dad in my 20s. So this is when I started to embrace alopecia. And when I reconnected with my dad, he was just like, you have a sister. She also has alopecia. And I was like, what? And then I connected with my sibling. She has alopecia, and her story is, a little bit more severe than my story is because she got bullied and people pull off her wig and things like that. So which is I'm sure not uncommon with people with alopecia. And she also has a son who has alopecia. My nephew has alopecia as well. So it that's kind of where I knew, and I put the pieces together where okay, it came from my father's side of the family because no one on my mother's side has alopecia, but now I know my father's side, he his family has alopecia, and I spoke to my aunts, his sisters. It was like, yeah, so my great grandfather had alopecia. I remember going to him, and he had alopecia, so it's like it passed through the lineage of the family, and that's how I know about it.
Yeah, and that can be really helpful, like we talked about with legacy with your book and talking about it and all of these things. And I'm sorry that you didn't know about your sister. I mean, like that's kind of that would have been such a bond, right? You didn't even know you had a sister. That was one thing, but then that she alopecia. Um, do you guys still have a relationship? I mean, do you guys have a bond now? Your sister?
Yes, my sister and I, we have a bond. Obviously there's a lapse in how often we speak and things like that because she's in
Right.
Boston, I'm in New Jersey, so we're not super close to each other. But yeah, we
Hmm.
have a bond, and especially after I wrote the book, she read it, and she's in the book as well as far as a little bit about her story is in the book as well.
Hmm.
This kind of what we discussed, and we kind of grew our bond in our relationship as
Yeah.
there as well. Yeah.
Yeah. Do
Mhm.
you feel like your nephew appreciates knowing that there's someone like him that he can talk to also other than his mom?
Yeah, I think he does appreciate it. We haven't actually spoke about it, because I'm letting him go through his own transition.
Yeah.
Because right now, I mean, he's the teenage, like 16 years
Hmm.
old, so it's
Yeah.
kind of the time when I had it, and I know what he's going through. So, I mean, he's in the stage where he just want to cover everything
Yeah.
as much as he can right now. So I'm not gonna push him, and I'm just gonna be there whenever he needs me to be there for him. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. Being available is great. Do you feel like you would have like support what is was necessary? Like if you had met someone when you were 15, would it do you feel like it would have made a difference? I know it's like you're just guessing. We're just guessing. Would this have made a difference for you growing up at 15?
I think it would have. I think it would have made a difference because when I was 15 in my teenage years, I didn't see anyone with alopecia, or that I didn't notice anyone with alopecia at that time.
Right.
So knowing that I wasn't alone, and I didn't feel isolated, I think it would have helped. I think
Right.
anyone, community, we don't grow in isolation, we kind of grow in community. So I think
Hmm.
that being in that environment would have definitely helped. So I encourage
Yeah.
anyone who has alopecia to definitely try to reach out to someone,
Hmm.
to at least have a conversation. What do you think?
Yeah. Yeah. And you do some work with NAF too, right? Are you a liaison for them? Is that right?
Correct. So I am a liaison for them. I am working with on the regional team, the Northeast region, as far as finding liaisons who wants to speak to their local state legislators and kind of put pressure on them so that they can make wigs, durable medical equipment under Medicare. That's one of the goals. So the main goal, obviously, is to try to get resources to find a cure for alopecia. I think it's something that can be curable, and I
Mm-hmm.
know that they make some strides as far as having some recent medication that came out that's in like the trial phase right now that can help with the alopecia. But I think overall, if we have enough technology now to try to find a cure for alopecia, so that's the number one goal. But in the meantime, I think that we could put pressure on the legislators and also pressure on health insurance companies to make wigs durable medical equipment under Medicare because
Mm-hmm.
because wigs are expensive. I mean, it could be
Yeah.
$1,000 and $3,000
Mm-hmm.
each time you need it, and there's people that can afford that, and that has
Right.
alopecia. So it'll be great to that if you have insurance
Mm-hmm.
to put insurance companies on the hook to help out with that.
I think, did you ever feel like you wanted to wear a hairpiece or a wig of any sort when, when as your hair was actively falling out?
No, I didn't feel like I needed a wig. I felt more so like I used to wear do-rags. I don't know if I used to wear
Mm-hmm.
do-rags and hats. And the
Yeah.
time where I was going through it, that was actually a trend. It was like in the hip hop community, that was a
Yeah.
trend.
Timing was nice.
And the timing was perfect as to me like just kind of hiding under the radar as far as
Mm-hmm.
style is concerned. So I will wear a wig. I'm not a wig, sorry. I'll wear a do-rag and a hat, and I'll fit in with all the other guys that were out there at the time. So I kind of just slid under the radar.
Yeah.
But I know for females, I know. I mean, some males too that want to wear wigs, but there's mostly females that wants to wear wigs. I think that it's important to have that,
Mm-hmm.
or at least be available for them.
Yeah. I think it's interesting that we're such proponents for getting people who want to wear wigs the ability to get them, right? Because I know it was important for me. Sometimes it's like a phase where you're like, okay, this is where I want to be. This is my comfort zone. And then I grew out of it, right? Or I'm well, the reality is I met people, I felt supported, I felt understood and gained confidence, and I was able to release my need for that. But when people want and need it, we want them to have it. You and I both don't wear anything on our heads other than probably a hat in wintertime.
Right.
Um, but other people don't feel that way. And so we really want that to be a possibility for them. So, and I know Ayanna Presley, she's a representative who is now going without anything on her head. And she's also a huge proponent for that. So we want to it's just kind of interesting that all of us who don't really wear hair just want that to be able to be, you know, something for everyone and
Yeah, I
and
think that
boys
we
as well too.
yeah, absolutely. I think that we understand the journey of getting to the point where you don't want to wear a
Mm-hmm.
wig anymore. You just want to be yourself and not
Mm-hmm.
necessarily want to, cover or your hair or your head, I should say. But yeah, it should be totally available for anyone who wants to do that or wants to wear a wig.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think that the problem is that a lot of legislators and medical company and health insurance companies think that it's just hair loss when it's not just hair loss. It's bigger than that. It's a mental condition that people go through that they need
Mm-hmm.
to be able to have um, a way just to feel normal. So I think
Mm-hmm.
that it's important to make that available for everyone.
Yeah. I would like to kind of jump to what you do for a living because it's kind of on the brink. I think, well, it's not on the brink. It was on the brink several years ago, and we're all now kind of having to come to terms with AI, right? I know for me, I've just started to dabble in it, but I have I'm rebelling against, looking at Google and having it be the first, response. I go, I'm scrolling down. I'm not giving into that. I'm gonna, look for more intentional articles and things like that. So that's my idea of rebellion, but I'm using it for other things to make things a little bit easier for myself. So where actually let's talk about AI and what you do, because I think a lot of people are really interested, and coming from your perspective, I'm sure it'll be really eye-opening.
I mean, I look at AI as a tool. I mean, as like anything else. I mean, AI is just technology that allows you to do things in a more efficient manner. Um, I help title agencies specifically in the real estate space with AI automations, meaning I help them systematize processes that they normally do manually. Um, the way I think of AI is like anything else. Like you and I, we wear glasses. There was a time where where people didn't wear glasses and they would look at it like, you wear glasses? That's cheating, or anything like that. It's just
Mm-hmm.
a tool. It's something to make your life easier, something
Yeah.
to help you. There's pros and cons to it, but I think there's more pros than cons to it. I think that if you utilize AI as a tool to help you do things more efficiently, then it's to your benefit. Hopefully that answers your question.
Yeah. Okay. I was gonna talk to you, and what are your thoughts about, the stuff that's making it into the headlines about like people asking their AI to marry them, things like that. I mean, what is with that? I know that they're so, uh, what do you call it? They listen to nuance, right, in your own writing style, and so they get you. They're great. They're kind of a great partner, so to speak, when they're responding to you. So what's the deal with that? And do we need to like protect against that? Like it's like, how do we discern I don't know. I don't even know what my question is, but it is interesting. All that this kind of odd behavior is kind of coming to the forefront with it.
I mean, it is interesting. I mean, the AI is just going to do what a human tells it to do, right? So if a human is saying "marry me," that's not the AI's fault. That's a human being telling AI to do it.
Mm-hmm.
It's not going to go outside of the confound the construct that you build. So if you give it parameters, it's going to stay within those parameters. So it's really looking at yourself. A lot of people say when they post on like social media, I'm going to use for example, they post on social media and they say, "Oh, the algorithm is not pushing me, it's not showing my content." But it's not the algorithm, it's really just you. I mean, it's really what you put out there. So if you put bad content out there, your content is not going to be shown to people. But if you put good content out, it's going to be shown to millions because everyone resonates to that. So if we go back to AI, whatever you tell AI to do, it's going to do. It's going to if you tell AI, marry me, it's gonna it's gonna look at you. Okay, well, we can play this game, and then they'll kind of play that game with you. It's, as weird as it is, but again, it's based on what the human tells it to do. So then we have to look at ourselves and say, how far we want to take it.
Mm-hmm.
That's my 2 cents. I know.
There's a lot of unknowns, I think, right now with it. And like you said, if we just use it as a tool that will kind of, help us with business. Or I mean, I had a really good girlfriend. She's going to Europe, and she had ChatGPT plan her entire trip, and she was so happy with it. And um, I mean, the responsiveness is, you know, she gave it a male name, would respond and say, "This sounds like a fantastic trip," and then she's like, "Yeah, it is going to be a fantastic trip." So it's just kind of funny how we're all, this was just a few months ago too. So I think it's really just like booming right now. And
Yeah, I
um,
mean, I mean, AI to me is fascinating. I use it a lot in my business as far as to help clients, and also use it for me personally on how I want to shape things. And when I have different ideas, I'll present it to AI, and it will give me ideas on different ways I can do it and help me with my research. It's almost like having a personal assistant,
mhm,
or anything that you want. A personal assistant, sales assistant, anything that you want AI to be can be for you. So it's definitely a fascinating time because it kind of it evens out the playing fields, especially for entrepreneurs
Mm-hmm.
who can't afford to have a team of 10 people. Well, I can have
Mm-hmm.
it could be me and it could be 10 AI assistants to or
Mm-hmm.
9 AI assistants to be a team of 10 people or 10
Yeah.
people, I should say.
Right. Right. I gotcha.
Yeah.
We're getting it. We're getting the lingo.
Exactly. And I mean, if you look at it, I mean, a hammer is supposed to be used to, hammer a nail. But if somebody chases people around the street with a hammer, it can be dangerous. So it's all based on the human that's holding the hammer, and it's now AI
Right.
is the human holding the AI technology. So that's how we have,
Right.
you know. So,
Okay. That's good advice. Thank you. Now, without giving anything like really great away that's in your book, do you have one piece of advice that you'd like to share that kind of just you feel would resonate with all ages of people and maybe even parents? I think that our parents don't get as much support as they need. I mean, I know that I work with them all the time, and parents just are suffering. I mean, that's a direct quote. Really struggling, and so there's that piece of it. But yeah, any word of advice before we go today that you might want to share?
all right, so I'll just speak on the parent initially because that's the
Mhm.
last thing we discussed. Um, I read an interesting stat the other day that said that a lot of people that's going through alopecia has to help their parent go through it as well. So
Mhm.
although the parent is not the one with alopecia, the person with alopecia has to help the parent. So
Mhm.
I read that interesting stat the other day on that. So I would just let the parent know that it's not your fault that your child has alopecia. This is something unique to your child. Yes, it may have come through your genes, and you may not necessarily know how your child is going gain alopecia, but just be there to support your child. Yes, your child is going through a lot right now. Alopecia, and it's a tough thing to go through. But it's thank God it's not life threatening. Thank God that it's something that you can cope through with your child, and and for the child that's going through alopecia, just know that it's you're unique. God made you unique, and you should embrace that uniqueness and be proud of who you are, because you're beautiful, you're strong, um, and I'll encourage you to just embrace it. I mean, it's something that you're not alone, and you're not alone through this journey. We all been through it, and you got to get through it. I mean, that's what I would say to anyone going through alopecia, and that you're beautiful. Don't think otherwise. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you. Thanks for that advice. And when people are looking for you on social media, where should they reach you? Where how can they find you?
I'm sure. I mean, the best way is through Instagram. You could
Hmm.
contact me through Instagram, the real Aaron. Is the real Arron is my handle on Instagram.
Yeah.
Of course, you can go to my website, hearlessbutfearless.com, and you can reach me that way as well. And I'm on every social media, LinkedIn, you can find me, but
Yeah.
Instagram is the best bet if you want to reach.
Okay. Perfect. Perfect. Thanks for being here. And we'll have all of that in the show notes. I just want to say thanks again for taking the time to, share with listeners just about your personal story, because I think that as we share these personal pieces about ourselves, we allow the next generation to grow, people to learn from us, and we're paving the way for the next generation. So thank you for so much for doing that.
Awesome. Thanks again, and thanks everyone for listening. I appreciate it.